storytelling in regards to hunting and fishing has gone back hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
Literally on the rock walls of our nation.
There's definitely a mentality that there is enough pie for all of us. And if we are, if you're doing well, then my chances of doing well are better. So.
Relationships is a big thing because we're past, people want to follow people want to see people want to know people, you want to know the people that you're working with. You're trusting your name behind that person to represent you, whether it's corporate or influencer or whatever, and you want to know, it's better to know that person.
Tejas.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast. We are so happy that you're here. We have a little bit of a special edition today. We are live at the POMA conference in Pinewood, South Carolina. My first time coming anywhere outside of Charleston, so seeing South Carolina the last few days has been really fun. We've been out and about on field trips. We've had all kinds of educational sessions, and we're going to tell you guys a little bit more about POMA. Brought it up on Bethany's podcast. I've also mentioned it before with Brandon and I coming here every year. And I'm going to let these guys introduce themselves, but I have Kevin, Bethany, and I already messed it up again.
Adrian.
I don't know why I have such a hard time with that.
Rocky.
So Adrian's with us as well. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves one at a time. Kevin, I'll let you go first and just kind of talk about, who you are, where you're from, why you're part of POMA. I know you serve as well, so.
Yeah, fantastic. My name is Kevin Paulson. I started HuntingLife.com in 2006. I sold an outfitting business, and I called it my Harvard education. It was an opportunity to kind of move forward. And so I started this blog, Hunting Life, and it was originally on Blogspot, and we bought the domain. And I've been kind of grinding it out ever since. 3 years ago, we launched our own magazine, and it's a digital magazine. You can find us just about everywhere by searching at Hunting Life on basically every social platform, and you can go to huntinglife.com. I am an outdoor writer by trade, and I help companies in digital marketing. And so, coming to POMA is just another way to grow my career.
Absolutely. And you serve on the board as well.
Yes, I am the treasurer currently for the board. This is my second stint as a board member. And I'm just committed to this organization. It gives an opportunity for me to kind of give back to an organization that has given a tremendous amount to me. It has helped in networking. It helps me to really mentor young writers and bring them on board.
Wonderful. And we'll hop across the table and let you introduce yourself now.
So I'm Adrian, Jessen. My husband and I have the Review This Thing YouTube channel as well as blog. And just like Kevin, you can look on YouTube. You can find us at Review This Thing, Instagram, Facebook, all those. Review This Thing. Trying to keep it pretty simple. We also have a podcast that we're trying to grow as well. So hopefully we'll learn some things in this process. But I started in POMA in 2021, and I had met another member through a Facebook chat. Was just asking about length of pull actually for rifles, and so I was talking to her, asking her some questions, and she just reached back out and mentioned POMA. It was like, with what you're trying to do, because we just got started. We started the channel in May of 2020, but not really consistent till probably January, February of 21. And so we were brand new, fresh. And she mentioned that it may be a great organization, like you were mentioning, just networking, meeting people, and learning a lot about the industry and how to grow. So I went in 21. It was in the conference was in Franklin, and just met you. Met
that was my first year too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Just met so many people that, and the thing that I've mentioned this to several people that I've talked about this organization with is there's definitely a what's the saying, a rising tide lifts all ships or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like there's definitely a mentality that there is enough pie for all of us, and if we are, if you're doing well, then my chances of doing well are better. So as long as we're all helping each other, I haven't found it to be super competitive, just more supportive. And the neat thing too is being part of an organization, you're an actual person instead of just an email. So, when I reach out to companies to, maybe borrow something for a review, I'm not just this random YouTuber who, they got a million people asking them for stuff, but I'm a person that has credibility because I'm part of a media organization. They know people I know, maybe that person connected me with them. And so the relationships are the main thing. Like, it's like coming to a class reunion every year.
Yeah.
You just get to see people again and catch up. And, I think we most follow each other on social media places. So you kind of know what's going on, but just putting that face again, face to face is huge.
Oh, it's so nice to hug y'all's neck too.
Exactly.
Like seeing y'all you're on Instagram or whatever it may be. My main one is Instagram, but and y'all's YouTube channel has really grown.
It has. When we went to that first POMA, we had, I think, 700 subscribers. And like probably in the next couple weeks we'll be at 18,000. So, and the POMA experience was huge for that. Just the support of like, well, what's your channel? Let me follow it. So it's huge.
Love that. All right, Miss Bethany, they've heard from you before, but go ahead.
Yes. So I've been on the podcast before, just like a couple weeks ago, but I'm Bethany Beathard and I'm a freelancer. And I actually heard about POMA like several years ago through Kevin Reese and Jackie Cassini. And they're like, you should join this organization. I was like, oh, I don't know. Well, then I met Kevin Paulson. I was hooked up through some other outdoor writers. Like, this is someone that you really need to talk to help you, because I was like, I really want to grow in writing. And so Kevin pretty much was like, this is good, do it better. And you needed to be in POMA. And that really like helped me. And so I was a scholarship winner last year, and then from there, I don't know like what happened, but it just snowballed, and it's been like a really great experience. And like through the intimate relationships, like I see these people at other places through POMA. I've been able to get into other conventions, ATA, other things like that, and them, like they're like, Kevin's been like, I've been like, he is like my mentor. Anytime that I'm like, I need help, what should I do? And he's never steered me wrong because I have that intimate personal connection with somebody. We've talked face to face, and just like getting in the outdoors, mentorship's a big thing. It's the same thing on the business side. Mentorship is a big thing. It's who they've been doing it for a long time. They're encyclopedias of knowledge around here, like pick people's brains. That's really helped me. And so I'm back again.
Yeah. And we'll dive into the relationship building for sure. I'd love to talk more about what we've been up to the last few days. And it's been, for me, every single year is just a little bit better. I get a little bit more comfortable. This year is no exception to that at all. I've been able to, like I said, kind of hug the necks of people that I've been following and loving on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it might be. But then also, Brittany has done a great job of setting up these field trips. We had a field trip the very first day to kick off this conference. I got to go ride on airboats and look at native and non-native species with Santee Cooper crowd. They were great. Those guys were awesome. They're very passionate, very educated. You'll probably see some more content from us when it comes to that, because I have a ton of photos and videos from that trip. But which field trip did you guys go on? I know you were on the fishing. Were you on the fishing trip?
Yeah, we did. So my husband in college, so just a couple years ago, came down to Santee Cooper to go catfishing, and he's talked about, we got to go back down there. We got to go over down there. It's the best. So when we got the registration, we knew, we're absolutely going fishing. So we went bass fishing, which our guide, I think his name was Nelson. He was awesome. He was from around here, so great local guide. Robbie caught a couple fish. And just beautiful, we got to see the osprey in their nests. And it's beautiful out there, and all the trees. But it was a big time. We knew for sure if we were given the opportunity to fish when down here in Santee, that's what we were going to do. So it was a great time.
Yeah, I've heard they do Bassmasters competitions.
They did one. It wasn't long ago. I feel like it was maybe March or April. They had like a big Bassmasters tournament down here.
And it was on Lake Marion?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's the one.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
Okay, yeah. And I wasn't familiar with any of this, honestly. Like I said, I've only been to Charleston. I stayed in Charleston. I didn't really adventure. But this state is really awesome. And a lot of it reminds me of home from Texas, but a lot of it's very different as well. The sheer number of cypress trees.
Yeah.
I was so floored by that. And I love cypress trees. Yeah. It's not something that I get to see very often back home. We have them in some of the lower areas, but we're just not as wet, I don't think, where I grew up, at least, certain areas is probably better. But yeah, and then which field trips? Did you go on a field trip?
Yeah, we went on the South Carolina Waterfowl Association. We did a tour of their entire
both did,
compound.
yeah.
And it was absolutely one of the best tours I've seen of a complex like this. It's just unreal the amount of work that this organization, the South Carolina Waterfowl Association, is doing, both in the habitat of this compound that they've created, but also in the work that they're doing to introduce youth into hunting, to introduce youth into the outdoors and fishing, and understanding the conservation way of life, as well as the work that they do with college students and interns and things like that to create future wildlife professionals that are actually going to be able to go out into this world and make a difference and improve land and make it better for all users across the entire board.
Yeah, this venue, I mean, this is one of the most unique venues I've ever been to a conference at, for sure. I know we've mostly hotels and conference rooms the last 3 years. This is the fourth year I've been here. This is my favorite so far. It's very relaxed, it's very chill, very intimate. And like he said, it's one of the most pristine properties that I've visited in a very long time. It's huge. Bethany, what's your favorite part about the place?
I really like they talked about doing the Hunting Heritage Center and talking about the heritage of this area. That's something that I'm resonate with anyways, but talking about the hunting heritage and then bringing in the heritage of the landscape that they're on, not just like a general American tradition. I really did like that, and that they're actually making a center to display that. And they talked about excavating some areas and putting some of the artifacts, there was going to be artifacts of the original house that was on this property. They're going to excavate it and put all those artifacts in the Hunting Heritage Center. So I'm really excited to see that come together and what that looks like, because I mean they've already done a really good job. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing complex.
Yeah, absolutely. So
to see the history of this particular area in that tour, we were standing on the original Indian roads.
Yes.
And it was just oh my gosh, to be able to stand on that road and think that these roads were used by Native Americans here for hundreds of years. Yeah. And as people began to basically colonize America, then those roads were used by the soldiers to fight the Revolutionary War. And to see that, and to see the graveyard of the Colonel Richardson's family, that this entire complex is built on his land, to see all of that, and then to know that they're working to protect that and put the history together so that history is here for generations to come, is just a vision that you just can't imagine.
I know there are a lot of people who have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that and preserving that. And it's something you have to be truly passionate about. Multiple people.
Something else that he mentioned that was that I liked is that he oh yeah, over there is this hunting club, or over there is this property, and how they work together to see what are you planning, how are you doing this, and how this whole area, even though they all have their own different things, are working together to make sure the habitat is working for everyone. That was really awesome to see, the bird's eye view community
of siloed.
What's going on. Yeah,
I love that. Definitely. Yeah, and then in addition to field trips, we actually have some typical conference things, which are education sessions and also content creation sessions. So we've had a wide array of different vendors and corporate partners that we've worked with the last 2 days. My favorite is Medic Up every single year. We have a live demo with, basically it was Stop the Bleed. I think it was the same thing last year, but this year we had real fake blood, I guess is what I should say. That's one of my favorite. And then we had a live demonstration with them on, tourniquet use, packing gauze for injuries, also talking about, how you're going to be able to use the tools that they offer to us as well. I bought a pack from them last year. I haven't touched it since last year, so I got it back out, and it's a good reminder. Yeah. You can have these things, but if you don't get them out and handle them, usually, so it was a great session for me. So what are some of y'all's favorite educational sessions or content creation sessions this year?
I definitely, the one we just had a little bit ago, the gentleman from Murray going through some of his tricks to some of the social media creation. And that's always such a changing, it seems, platform. They're changing something all the time. So just how to stay a little bit fresher with that and potentially be able to gain followers and attention, mainly just to be able to spread the value that you have and you want to share, and hopefully grow interest in what we're doing. And so seeing that the options, I guess, for how to do things a little bit differently was helpful for sure.
Yeah, and he's also super young. I didn't realize how young he was, and his perspective was nice to see him go up there and talk about that. And he said he's only been in the outdoor industry for a year, but it seemed like he was so seasoned. So yeah, that was a really interesting one for sure.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I mean, you mentioned my medic, and last year we had my medic here, and they gave an entire seminar on tourniquets and packing the wounds, and then purchasing and keeping and maintaining your individual first aid kit. And I had a unique experience because I actually went home. And 2 weeks later, I was planting an aspen tree and took an axe directly to my leg, had the opportunity to actually use my individual first aid kit. So I got the real, I got a session at POMA that literally 2 weeks later I was able to put into practice. Now, I don't recommend that you go and chop your leg or chop into your leg with an axe. That's dumb. But, and it was a dumb, it's just a lack of, safety forethought. But, sometimes men do dumb things, and that was one of those days.
Never.
Yeah, it's one of those days. And, but having, if you're going to do dumb things, you sometimes have to understand that you need the tools necessary to protect yourself. And having an individual first aid kit from a company like My Medic is a way in which you can protect yourself.
Yeah. And as much time as we spend outside, I mean, it's an absolute must.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think for me, going into these sessions, I really enjoyed Trent Marsh's session on shooting, and that it wasn't necessarily the scope that is necessarily causing your problems. It's generally you, the shooter, that's causing your problems. I think he hit the nail on the head that you should be practicing your shooting, and that you can buy an air rifle and practice it 20 yards just consistently over and over and over. I think that really got my mind thinking that, I need to get back out there and grab my air rifle and begin, practicing my trigger control so that I'm ready for the fall season. I think the most important value of POMA is really in the times where we don't have sessions, though. It's in the individual conversations that we get to have. I call it belly to belly time. Like you get to stand belly to belly with a peer like Adrian, or a peer like Bethany, or a peer like any one of the people that's here, and you can ask questions. I just came up to Meagan and asked her questions about her camera, and I was able to get all of the information I really needed that would have taken me a week to research. And I was able to get that in 5 minutes from somebody who was utilizing that camera, understood the camera, and that's like, it is priceless information that you just can't get in another venue.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely. A lot of that value is in between those sessions, for sure.
100%.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I really like what Kevin said, the belly to belly time. It's like encyclopedias of knowledge. Like, for me, coming into the industry, like, the landscape is changing for sure, but at the same time, there's people that have been doing this and what they're doing is working and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
And why not? Like, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel whenever you can just ask somebody that has been doing it and can help you get years of jump starts on what you're doing? So for me, that worked well. And then post POMA, I'm like, you know what? Oh, now I'm working on this. I remember talking to them, and then you can re-engage that person, and you have this ongoing relationship outside of the conference because you actually met them face to face.
Well, and like you said, it's not about competition here. We're all really here to support each other, and that's what's so refreshing and nice about it. I mean, even with content creation, this whole event, everybody's got a camera, or and if they don't have a camera, they have their phone in their hand. Everybody's creating content the entire time, right? And we're all taking pictures of each other and taking videos of each other and just airdropping it and be like, here you go. They're very intense. So we're back, guys. We had a little bit of a, I almost said interception. We had a little bit of a and not an intervention either. What is it called?
Intermission.
That's the word I'm looking for. We had a little bit of an intermission. We had to go back and do all of our duties. But yeah, we had a panel with a lot of our POMA board members and our executive director and went over some things about the benefits of being a member. And so that's kind of what we're diving into now, I think is going to be a good segue. I will say that regardless of how many people we have at this conference, it's like he mentioned, I'm getting a lot out of the quality of the people and of the relationships and how much they care. And honestly, how transparent and how upfront. Like I've had people that I've just met that ask me like, why did you get involved in this? Like really making me think or like, well, have you thought about this? Or, I think really that you could move in this direction. Like it's so nice. Like the value that's being provided between these sessions and especially after hours, which we're about to dive into here in a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I met someone that I said, oh, I've only been here for 4 years, but he hadn't met me in the last couple of years. And he was like, how do I not, dove into a couple things with him. And I just said, thank you for actually caring and like slowing down and listening to me and caring about why I started and why I'm in this industry and like feeling me out, I guess, in a way to make sure that this is somewhere where I fit, right? And truly making sure that I felt like I fit after that conversation. So I don't know. I mean, what are some of the benefits that you guys, or what are some of the relationships, I guess, that y'all have established? I mean, you mentioned a couple things.
Yeah.
But what has been the most valuable aspect of the relationships you've forged here with this organization?
Well, so year to year, it's like last year was like my first time. What I liked about last year is they talked about the editors panel. I needed to know how to like talk to editors. Didn't know how to do that. Like, and all of the editors had different ways that they wanted writers to communicate to them, and now like this year they're talking about corporate sponsors and media. Like there's a different way to connect with them. But you never know, like every year is like a different reason. Like I've changed from what I needed last year to what I need this year. And so the needs of the industry is different for me. And so how I'm going to approach the relationships, I might not need something right now, but like late in the year, I keep all of my business cards. I have a huge stack and I'm going to re-email that person later on in the year and be like, hey, da-da-da-da-da. And then like, we've already cultivated like this relationship. They know me from like face to face. So for me, relationships is a big thing because we're past, like people want to follow people want to see people want to know people, you want to know the people that you're working with. You're trusting your name behind that person to represent you, whether it's corporate or influencer or whatever. And you want to know, like, it's better to know that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say for sure. So from where we started as a review channel, reviewing products, and now with our blog, we write articles reviewing those products, and we're jumping into some other areas, doing a little bit more just general writing. So that's another animal for a different day. But the being able to have those, I think I touched on it earlier, but connections with companies that wouldn't have even considered us before, being able to have someone, for instance, probably 2 years ago, I reached out. Serena knew Linda from Mossberg, and I was like, hey, do you know anybody that works for any of these various shotgun companies? And she's like, oh yeah, I can connect you with Linda. So she connected us. Now we've been able to borrow 4 or 5 different guns from Mossberg, where now our numbers are growing. We're on a steady incline. But 2 years ago, whenever we first wanted to try these various shotguns out, like if they didn't know someone, they didn't know I was connected to the organization, or didn't know someone.
They were just looking at your content.
Yeah. They're just like, no. And like, even there was, I won't mention the company, but there was an optics company that I had reached out to, just cold emailed a couple years ago, and they were like, sorry, no, we only send stuff to here, but we could offer you a discount. And I was like, okay, appreciate it. Thank you for actually answering. But then through another connection, so person A that I know gave me the contact number to person B, who then connected me to C, who then connected me to that optics company, who was like, oh, we would love to send this to you. So now we've gotten like 3 or 4 optics from them to test out. So it's that whole, it's so relational. And, it's not just about like, oh, because you know me, now you're going to send me stuff. But just that, like, they now know that they can trust us with the things they have us test out. They know we're going to be genuine, and it's a real review with integrity that's honest, that isn't, we're going to represent them well. And I think that makes a big difference in being able to have like you, and you touched on this, Bethany, just like the real person that you can be, that they know, makes a huge difference among.
Well, and the word that you said is like the word trust, right?
Yeah.
They trust you with your brand, and
Right.
they're never going to trust you if they don't know you, or they don't know somebody who knows you who can vouch for you, right?
Right.
Go good, Kevin.
Kevin's dying.
Kevin's dying.
I don't know how many like literal calls, Zoom calls, whatever, have turned into like, oh yeah, Kevin, and I'm like, Kevin Paulson. They're like, I know
Which
Kevin,
Kevin?
and I'm like, I know Kevin. He's my mentor. And they're like, Kevin was your mentor? Oh my goodness! And like there, and it turns into like, okay, well now we're really gonna work with you because we trust this person that you've known in the industry for a really long time, and yeah, like everybody knows Kevin. Like literally every call that I had, they're like, oh yeah, I know Kevin. I want to do this with Kevin. I've worked with Kevin, so it's really.
And, you know, I appreciate that, and in a lot of ways, like I have crafted my career around like developing young riders.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Morrissey was here with the National Shooting Sports Foundation. I mean, he certainly built his career 100% on his own. But he joined this organization at the exact same time he came on and started writing for HuntingLife. His brother actually was the one who introduced me to him, and his brother was on my pro staff. There's plenty of other writers that I have brought into POMA as a young writer who came to me and said, hey, we want to be like you. We want to have a following like HuntingLife. We want to be a part of this industry. How can I make that happen? And my advice to every single one of them is join this organization.
Yeah.
Because the people who are here have the ability to connect you with anybody you might want to know in the industry. There isn't anybody that I don't know in this entire industry. And if I, for some reason, may not know that individual in this industry, I know somebody from this room who does know that person.
And I think,
It's a lock.
I think one thing, as what you're speaking on, that I learned being in this organization is it's not a huge. The industry isn't a huge population of a whole lot of different people. Like it's a pretty small community. So like you said, if you can build relationships with even 10 people, well, those 10 people probably know the other 20 people who know the other 100 people, and now you know everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kevin made a good point earlier. I mean, it was Kevin or Trent, one of the two, said, if I don't know somebody who can do it, or if I can't do it myself, if I can't do it myself, I know somebody who can. And that's been the coolest thing too, is referrals, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's the other part of, there's no competition here. We're all supportive, and there's all different pieces of the puzzle for how we're in the same mission. And we all just need to be able to play well together and bounce things off of each other and build that trust with other brands and say, you know, I trust this person, so you should too.
Especially because you think about, and I don't know the statistics, one of you guys may, but the percentage of people in America who are hunters is like, I think it's 5% or less. It's some very minimal percentage.
My brain is saying 2, but I don't know.
It's super small.
Yeah.
And so then if you think, and then not to go into this big topic, but when you think about legislation and how few, if there's that only 5% of Americans are hunters, and we're talking about all this like anti-hunting legislation and blocking public land access legislation and all that, if we aren't doing our job of lifting each other up and getting the information out there and sharing the content, sharing these nonprofits that are trying to, you know, Midway USA Foundation and shooting sports, and so if we don't do a good job of lifting each other up and connecting each other, then those numbers are just going to keep going down.
Yeah. The message gets lost. Yeah.
And then we lose our.
Yeah, I mean, we have a heavy responsibility.
Yeah.
We really do.
And
it's not only just to elevate and the frequency of how often we talk about it, but correctly and respectfully and really like understanding the power of your reach, right? You know, like you have some responsibility here, right? And they have a lot more money and a lot more going on. Like it'd be full-time job is to make legislation that's quite frankly a huge impact on our lifestyles and our, you know, our pastimes and the future. Like I want my kids to be able to have the same access that I do, and it just seems like we're constantly butting up against issues that are typically ignorant issues, right? It's a lack of education, understanding, application, whatever it may be. And so that's our responsibility, is to help combat that, right? I mean, that's where I feel like I have a huge purpose, right? And that's why we have the podcast to begin with.
Right.
You know, we can only control so much, but I can control the fact that it's free to publish a podcast on, you know what I mean? So that's the kind of stuff that I see across the board here, is that everybody's capitalizing on those opportunities, and they care enough to do the research and really put the work in to have the right message. Now, how well that is received, you can't really,
you can't control the people.
You can't convince them otherwise, right? But you can show that we have, you know, the ethics, the history, the culture. Like, it's not just about killing an animal, grip and grin, even though that's something else. Is that a lot of these media members that aren't as invested in combating that message are publishing grip and grins and not telling that full story. And Bethany and I have talked about this. That's really sad to see, because like there's so much more you could tell in that story, but you're choosing just to highlight, you know, that grip and grin picture, right? And that's a problem, and that's something that we can pat as well. No, that's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other
We could go into a whole rabbit hole of that.
One of the beauties about POMA is that POMA is the Professional Outdoor Media Association, and so this organization is here for people who are focused on, and outdoor media people who are focused on shooting the outdoors, hunting, and fishing. And so this organization really is all encompassing across the entire board. And it really, really is here to further the storytelling that has existed for generations upon generations upon generations. Is, you know, clear as day, storytelling in regards to hunting and fishing has gone back hundreds of thousands of years. Literally on the rock walls of our nation, there are pictures of animals and hunts and fish coming out of the water, and that was the original storytelling that existed. So across the board, storytelling was the way to tell future generations what actually happened. And one of the most important aspects of human life was really truly about food. And so those stories got passed down the generations of how we survived by hunting and by fishing in order to be able to grow and grow and grow as a human race. This organization is really here for all people to do that. What's unique about POMA is that every one of our outdoor writers are here because of a recommendation from another outdoor writer that's here, and also they are all vetted. And so everybody gets to come to this organization. You have to have a certain number of articles, you have to have a certain number of social media posts. You are vetted to show that you are actually a professional in this industry, and that helps the entire industry know about your legitimacy as an outdoor writer.
That's a great point. That's a really great point. Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, I know that we have other things to go enjoy together, but I am so thankful for each one of you for coming on and just doing a little cute impromptu episode with me. If you guys want to learn more about the Professional Outdoor Media Association, feel free to DM any of us. Tejas Hunt Club included in that. If y'all want to send us a DM or drop a comment, if you want to send us an email, info@barmcmedia.com. Be happy to send you guys more info on how to join, or if you want to come and see what it's all about. I mean, like Kevin said, it is kind of a little bit of a exclusive opportunity for those who are serious about telling stories and really shedding a great light on the outdoor industry and making sure that it's authentic and it matches what our mission is, really. So thank you all very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. One last quick point. You can go to professionaloutdoormedia.org and see our website, and again, just email any one of us and we'll be happy to share the story of why we're in POMA and what it means to us and why maybe you should or shouldn't be a member.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to push myself to find someone that I can bring now, because Gabby brought me in. Now it's my turn. So yeah, thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the next one, guys.